Chris Hipkins.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. The main message from that contribution by that member was that there is no Plan B and the government don't have any idea what a Plan B would look like. Well, I'm happy to enlighten them as to what a Plan B might look like. A Plan B would see unemployment going down, not going up, as it is under this national government. A Plan B would see government debt going down, not going up, as it is under this national government. Plan B would see the government surplus going up and not down, in fact not being non-existent as it is under this national government. Plan B would see growth in the business community that leads to job creation, and a lot of that would be driven off the back of increasing research and development, something this government have no idea how to stimulate. Plan B would involve more diversification of the New Zealand economy when this government seem to be wanting to put all their eggs in one basket. Plan B would involve improving health and education services in New Zealand, and most importantly, Plan B would involve higher living standards for all New Zealand families, something that this government simply have no idea how to deliver. Haven't they come a long way from that brighter future they promised New Zealanders back in 2008. They don't talk about that anymore. They're no longer aspirational for New Zealand. Oh no, they're simply content to manage New Zealand's decline. They've got their heads in the sand and they have no Plan B. They have no idea how to turn New Zealand's economic fortunes around, and that becomes more and more obvious by the day. In 2010, John Key said that he'd hate to see New Zealanders become tenants in their own country, in their own land. And what is happening? Day after day, we see more examples of farmland being sold offshore, of housing being sold offshore, of valuable state assets being sold offshore. And not only will this government not do anything to stop that, they are encouraging it, they are furthering it. They cannot wait to sell more and more of what is New Zealand out from under the feet of New Zealand citizens. And I think that that is disgraceful. It is no wonder John Key was too ashamed to answer questions today in the House from the Leader of the Opposition about that broken promise that he made back in 2010, because this government are quite content to hock everything off. They've been selling off the housing stock. They're going to sell off state houses. First they said it was going to be to community providers. Then of course community providers said, oh no, we can't do that. So now they're quite content to sell large chunks of state housing to overseas investors. That is absolutely wrong. That is absolutely bankrupt, and the government shouldn't be doing that. Then they said that they wanted to ensure that New Zealand's strategic assets, valuable strategic assets, remained in New Zealand's ownership, and yet every single application from overseas investors to buy New Zealand's strategic assets like farmland have been approved. They have not declined one single application to buy those strategic assets. So much for protecting New Zealand for New Zealanders. This government quite happy to see everything sold off offshore. Sensitive land, state assets like our energy companies, and of course housing, no problem with hocking that offshore. And of course, they never tire of finding new ways to hide what they're getting up to, new terminology to try and hide exactly what it is that they're doing and hide the fact that they're breaking their promises. So now we have Bill English's latest one called capital recycling. Capital recycling is Bill English's great new phrase. $1.2 billion, $1 to $2 billion of assets Bill English is going to sell in order to have his capital recycling program. Let's put that into context. The SOE sale program raised less than $5 billion. Bill English is suggesting that he could raise nearly half as much as that again through selling off other assets like Landcorp farms, like government-owned assets that currently exist, whether they be in education or health. They said at the last election there would be no more asset sales if National were re-elected. That was absolute, utter tosh, because they are selling off everything that they can get their hands on, everything that is not bolted down. So much for not wanting New Zealanders to be tenants in their own country. We've got a government now who are quite happy to sell off absolutely everything, sell it out from under the feet of New Zealanders, and that's wrong.
Good speech.
The Honourable Todd McLeay.
Thank you very much. Well, there's 5 minutes of our life we'll never get back. Thank you for that.